Hello students, today we are going to discuss about DNA structure or structure of DNA. And two lines of investigations helped us in understanding the DNA structure. What are those two lines of investigations? One is X-ray crystallography and the second one is Chargaff's rule. First we will discuss about X-ray crystallography. And two scientists, one is Maurice Wilkins, the other person is Rosalind Franklin. These two scientists, with the help of this technique, they have obtained X-ray diffraction photographs of DNA. X-ray diffraction photographs. And through these photographs, they have concluded that the DNA is showing a helical structure. Helical structure with a space about 3.4 angstroms. 3.4 angstrom spacing. But they didn't propose any model for this. So later, Erwin Chargaff and his colleagues, they have conducted some base composition experiments. And which is popularly known as what Chargaff's rules. And through these studies, Erwin Chargaff has made some generalizations which are popularly known as Chargaff's rules. Let us say what are those Chargaff's rules. And these Chargaff's rules are applicable only to double stranded DNA. One is purines and pyrimidines. Purines and pyrimidines occur in equal amounts. Occur in equal amounts. That is 1:1 ratio. The second one, we know that of DNA, purines of DNA are adenine and guanine. Pyrimidines of DNA are thymine and cytosine. And this A plus G is equal to T plus C. Friends, of course, you know that I have abbreviated adenine as A, guanine as G, thymine as T, and cytosine as C. So A plus G is equal to T plus C. And this can be represented by a formula A plus G by T plus C is equal to 1. This is constant for all species. For all species. This is whatever the number of purines that are present in one DNA of any species will have the same amount of pyrimidines also. And the fourth one is base ratio. Now see, adenine always binds with thymine and guanine always binds with cytosine. So A plus T by G plus C is called base ratio. And this base ratio is not constant for all species. It is specific for a species. Specific for a species, and so that this with this base ratio we can identify the species also. And for better understanding, let us take some examples. So this base ratio value will be base ratio value will be less than 1 less than 1 for prokaryotes. For example, if you take the DNA of E. coli, this base ratio value for E. coli is 0.92. And this base ratio value is more than 1 for eukaryotes. And if you take the example of human beings, the human DNA will have a base ratio 1.52, means what, more than 1. And the fifth one, okay, the sugars and phosphates occur in equal amounts. Equal amounts. And the sixth one, adenine is equimolar to guanine. Sorry, adenine is equimolar to thymine. In the similar way, guanine is equimolar to cytosine. We can represent this like this. A is equal to T, like that G is equal to C. Okay. These are what Chargaff's rules. Later, one scientist called Pauling, and he discovered the existence of hydrogen bonds between these bases. And he stated that between A and T, double hydrogen bond, and between G and C, triple hydrogen bonds are established. Based on all this information, James Watson and Francis Crick, they have constructed a physical model for DNA, and which is known as double helical model. Double helical model, or double helix model, or even sometimes it is called as duplex model of DNA. And these scientists, while constructing this physical model, they proposed base pairing. Base pairing, which is considered as one of the hallmarks in their proposition. Because this base pairing is between two polynucleotide chains, and that's why if one knows the base sequence on one strand, for example, suppose the sequence of a bases on one strand is AGGCCTT. Suppose these are the bases present in one strand, then the basis of opposite strand can be predicted very easily, because we know that A always pairs with T and G always pairs with C. So that's why we'll find like this: AC, G, sorry, AT here, GC, C, G, G, A, A. This is the unique feature of these polynucleotide chains, base pairing. But of course, actually, this base pairing was discovered by Chargaff. And because of this property, suppose a parent DNA, the two strands of DNA, when they want to, when they behave as templates, for example, let us take this is one strand AA, GG, CC, TT, and the opposite strand will have TT, CC, GG, AA. So when these two are behaving as templates, both these strands will be separated. Okay. What is the sequence here? AA, GG, CC, TT. And for this, TT, CC, GG, sorry, A. These two separated strands are behaving as templates. And now the new strand which is formed by the side of this will have what sequence? So A, so T, T, G is here, so C, C, C is here, so G, G, T is here, so A, A. Like that, for this, one strand is formed that will have the sequence like this: A, G, G, C, C, T, T. Now look at these two newly formed strands which can be called as daughter DNAs, and these daughter DNAs are exactly identical to the parent DNA. So this is the unique feature of this base pairing. Okay. So now let us see the salient features of double helical model. So this double helix is composed of two polynucleotide chains. Two, this is one polynucleotide chain, and this is the second polynucleotide chain. And the backbone of each polynucleotide chain, of course, is constituted by sugar and phosphate. So here in the double helical structure also, the backbones are these. These are composed of sugars and phosphates. And the bases, means nitrogen bases, are projected inside. So here I am writing A. So here you will find T. And here I am writing T. And here you will find A. And where are they projected? They are projected inside. Okay. And one more point we have to see here, and I will explain you with the structure later. While one strand is showing 5' polarity to 3' polarity, the other strand will have 3', 5' polarity. But of course, you see, means what, they are not running parallelly, they are running in opposite direction. That's why they are anti-parallel. And how these two strands are connected actually? The two strands are connected by hydrogen bonds. And these hydrogen bonds are established between nitrogen bases. And a purine always binds to a pyrimidine, and a pyrimidine always binds to a purine. Like A binds to thymine, and guanine binds with cytosine. And already we know that between adenine and thymine, double hydrogen bond, and between guanine and cytosine, triple hydrogen bonds are established. Okay. That's why actually this double helix is having that stability because of this hydrogen bonds, as well as these bases are they're stacked one above the other, and that confers the stability to this double helix. And one more thing, this double helix is twisted in what direction? Right-handed direction. So that's why it is called what? Right-handed helix. And see, it will have a turn or helices. And how to identify this turn or helix? With the help of two kinds of grooves you will find here. And this is called deep groove, and this is called shallow groove. So a helix will have, or a turn will have, a pitch will have one deep groove and one shallow groove. You can see from here to here it is one turn. And what is the angle of this turn? 360 degrees. And what is the length of this one? The length is 34 angstrom units or 3.4 nanometers. And of course, you know that 1 nanometer is equal to 1 billionth of a meter. And you can see that this is a base pair and this is another successive base pair, and like that every base pair is stacked one above the other, and the distance between these two, you see, I hope you are able to see this one. This is the distance, and the distance measures about 3.4 angstrom units or 0.34 nanometers. And you have to remember these values in both units, angstrom units as well as nanometer units, because in the examination they may ask in angstrom units or they may ask the question in the nanometers. That's why you have to remember them in both ways. Okay. And now we will see the dimensions or geometry of DNA. Now, let us see the geometry of DNA, means the values of the DNA structure. The length of DNA. What will be the length of DNA? Actually speaking, there is no answer for this, because this length of DNA varies from species to species and also within the species. Means what? A species will have many chromosomes and all chromosomes will not have the same length. Like that, the DNA within that organism also will have difference. But for example sake, means what, we have to take the entire DNA, and see, that's why I wrote here variable. That means what, varies from species to species. As an example sake, I wrote some examples here, and you take the DNA of 5x174 phage virus, a bacteriophage, and its DNA is having how many bases? 5386 bases. Generally, this DNA is measured in terms of base pairs, that is BP, but here why it is written as bases? With that, you have to understand that in this 5x174 phage, the DNA is not double stranded, it is single stranded. Single stranded DNA. And second, third, and fourth examples, you can see that I mentioned BP, BP, BP. That means what, base pairs. And with that, one can understand that all of them are having double stranded DNA. And you can see that this DNA is having 48,502 base pairs in lambda phage, and in E. coli bacterium, it is 4.6 into 10 power 6 base pairs. And when it comes to human genome, 3.3 into 10 power 9 base pairs. And what is genome? Means what? This is haploid number. The haploid number of chromosomes or the genes present in a haploid set of chromosomes is called genome. So this is for haploid cell of human. Then what about diploid cell? That becomes what? 6.6 into 10 power 9 base pairs. This becomes 6.6 into 10 power 9 base pairs. Like that, that is the first thing. The length is variable. Okay. And what about the length of that one coil or one turn or one pitch? Is 34 angstroms or 3.4 nanometers. And the angle of this one coil, it is complete angle or turn, will have a 360 degrees angle. That is only complete turn. And we know that these base pairs are arranged one above the other, stacked up. And what about the distance between these two base pairs? The distance is 3.4 angstroms or 0.34 nanometers. And what about the angle between these two base pairs? I hope you're understanding. That's why this DNA is twisted, like a twisted ladder or like a twisted staircase. So the angle between these two base pairs is 36 degrees. And with this information, we can understand that the number of base pairs in a turn, the number of base pairs in a turn is how many? 10. 10 base pairs. And you know that base pair means two nucleotides. So number of total number or just simply number of nucleotides in a turn will be 20. So don't get confused. And here I use what? Base pairs, and here I have used what? Nucleotides. That is funny. This is what is about the structure of DNA. And in the next session, we will discuss about types of DNA.